I'm Jordan Belfort, and this is Sales School. I found this awesome clip on a topic I really seldom talk about: standards. And it's not it's crucial, but it's not my favorite thing to do because AI have really high standards, but we really need to focus in on this stuff. And in the certification course, it's the last module I'm tackling. I'm just about to start tackling it, so it'll be really fresh in my mind. Anyway, let's watch this clip here. It's a longer slide. I want to give you a little extra here, so it's a good solid clip here. Watch it, and we'll see you on the other side. We'll discuss it.
How many people just came in here with a really high standard to start with? Didn't have to go. They just couldn't get any high. Had a high standard to start, right? Okay, good. All right. I just want you to understand here what the standard means, okay? Watch. Inner game state is in the moment. Your beliefs serves as your map of the world and ends up choosing what you value. It affects our focus by activating that reticular activating system, what we should focus on, and guides what we choose to be our vision for the future based on our beliefs and values, right? In the moment indicator, in the moment to access skills. Your standard is your long-term barometer. It's that thermostat. It's the place where you are going to end up. If you have a low financial standard or not a high enough financial standard, what happens is you end up going through this process of self-sabotage or yo-yo income cycles where you work really, really hard and you do well, and then all of a sudden you just find yourself backing off and you're not really sure why, but you feel negative or disempowered about it. You feel and you can't get yourself to keep doing the things you know how to do. One of the primary demotivators is your standard, a low standard. Now, when we're going through this, we never look at it that way. We usually default, and even I'm guilty of this, by the way, is default that it's about my why and my purpose. And I don't really I feel like I'm living a purpose-driven life, and I'm not really clear about my why. And those are indeed incredibly important forces that guide your day-to-day motivation. Knowing what your why is, feeling that you have a purpose-driven life, which is why I ask you to make sure that you have this in your vision statement. We'll go through it again this afternoon before we leave, that you have these things integrated into your vision. But what very often is happening, it's the standard is serving as this thermostat, and it's shutting you down automatically. It's like almost an automatic shutdown that when you get to a certain temperature or level of income, your brain says, I'm good, and you just don't stop. You slow down, stop working, or stop going for the goal, and you start sliding backwards. Now we live in a world where you can never stay static. There is no stay. You can't, be at equilibrium here because either you're growing or you're dying. We live in a world, you're growing or you're dying. There's no middle ground. So what I want you to do right now is I want you to look at your standard. Okay, you wrote down a number, and my guess is that the number you wrote down right now, because of the situation that you're in, serves you, meaning it's probably a good number to have. That you wrote a number that's high enough that it's congruent with your vision. Because we've been talking about this stuff that's fresh in your mind. But I just want you to look at it. I want you to look at your standard. And I want you then to look at your vision. Go to your vision for a second. And just make sure those two coincide. That you don't have a grandiose vision and a low standard. Just make sure things coincide. Just real quickly. And if you feel that who feels they're congruent? Raise your hand. Anybody feel that they're not congruent? Anyone feel like their stand's a bit low? Okay, be honest. Hands up, please. Can you stand up for a second, just so I can see them, please? Great. Bravo. A for honesty. Okay, you could sit down. So here's how we raise our standard. Okay? I want you to go to your section that you wrote for what means ultimate pain to you. Everyone do this, because it can ensure that you don't drop your standards. And I want you to now write out, see what you wrote for pain, and now go to, on page, so you have absolute pain and pleasure on 32, right? I want you to, if you don't think your standard serves you, as you just stood up, I want you to write down the standard write down a new standard. What does serve you? Write it down right now. Tell me what that number should be. Write it down. That's step one. And everyone do it. Even if it's a serve you, write down what your standard is. Right, I put it right here. If your new standard's a good one, write it down. I usually do this content first, so it's usually lower, but that's you're already up. It's fine. Just write it down, whatever your standard is. And if your new standard needs to go up, write down the new standard. And I want you, I'll give you a second to do that. So write down, for those of you especially who are too low, write down what your standard should be. And I want you now to write very quickly. You have a couple, this one standard, just for money, we'll do it just for money. You can do the rest on your own tonight. I want you to write down what is going to happen to you. I want you to take the pain that you've written down, your 5 things, and say, if I don't meet my new standard, I am going to feel this. I want you to link the pain of what matters most to you, and I want you to write that down. If I don't meet this new standard, I'm not going to feel significant. I'm going to start feeling, I'll be worried all the time. I'm going to be full of anxiety, or I'm not going to be connected with my kids, or I'll never have the light. Whatever it is, I want you to write down the negative consequences here from your absolute pain to not going for your new standard. And as soon as you're done with that, I want you to do the flip side, and I want you to write down your absolute pleasure. Whatever means absolute pleasure. Say, if I keep this standard, I am going to live a life of my 4 greatest pleasures. And I want you to link what means absolute pleasure to you to your new standard.
All right, guys, pretty great stuff. Listen, just remember this, and I think there's one thing to take away. I got this from Dr. Bandler many, many years ago. He said to me that the difference to that ultra high level, like that amazingness, right? It's a sliver above just being great. Like there's great and there's fucking unbelievable, right? And the difference between those two is very, very small. See, there's these big leaps up the ladder. And I didn't invent this kind. Guys, I'm not taking credit for inventing this stuff, right? This stuff's been around forever. But the point is that it's true. And it's palpable and it matters. The point is that if you have really low standards, these little big leaps up, and you get to the very top. And you're doing great, and you're living a great life, but there's that one level above where the greatness is the real greatness. Jerry Maguire, the Quan.
Quan? That's your word?
Hell yeah, that's my word. You know, some dudes might have the coin, but they'll never have the Quan.
What is...
It means love, respect, community, and the dollars too, the entire package, though. Quan. Great word.
That's the Quan, right? That is what the beauty of life's all about. And it's worth it, guys, all right? I love you all. Think about that exercise you saw here about raising your standards. I promise you're well worth it. And we'll talk again tomorrow.